Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself and my services to you. I'm Charlie Swords of Charlie Swords Consultancy, and I live in and operate from Ireland. I have over 27 years experience guiding executives across 30 plus countries, and I specialize in partnering with corporate teams to align their business strategy with their people. And I truly believe and I'm passionate about putting people at the heart of the organization. All of my work with executives and leadership teams over the years drives impactful, transformative change, and that results in creating very high-powered, high-performing teams and customer-centric and inclusive cultures. So I have actually worked in Cairo. I worked as a consultant and a trainer in NBE in 2006 and with EDBE in 2007. And as part of my work there, I was involved in helping them develop and set up a customer service program to run throughout the entire organization. And I helped them implement the structures, the development of various people at different levels with responsibility for corporate service. And basically, we developed all of the functions in-house. And more recently, I've been working with CIB in the area of personal branding and transformational leadership. So I'm very familiar with Cairo and all that is going on in your wonderful country. I understand that you wish to upskill your teams in a number of areas, all of which I am actively engaged in with my clients internationally. So in this context for you, I would develop 3 self-guided training programs, all of which would be tailored to your immediate needs and to provide very actionable, relevant techniques, practices, and insights for your people. I would recommend that the self-guided programs last 1 hour in total, given the natural attention span of people and to ensure that there is unbroken learning time and engagement. The topics that I would propose to meet your needs, I understand customer service is a priority issue for you. And so I would recommend a program called Customer Service Excellence. There are a number of key areas within this very broad subject that I would recommend for you. The first one would be why customer service matters, particularly with the diverse workforce. So in my work, in the last few months with an Irish hotel, the diverse workforce issue and the challenges from that actually was raised. So this is a critical issue for hotels and most service sectors. The impact of both the different levels of English, the different accents, and cultural norms and behaviors in communicating is proving challenging. Now, many managers in the hotel I worked in, they found that the international team members, they always acknowledge what's being said to them and asked of them by nodding their head in agreement and smiling and saying yes to all of the questions that are asked. But in actual fact, very little was delivered, and that caused huge issues both for the customer and for the management team. Now, at the time of communicating what was required, the managers assumed, based on the body language of their team member, that everything was understood and everything would be delivered. But it wasn't. And so to address this, I advised the management team to ask their team members to paraphrase back to them what was said and to clarify what was expected of them to deliver and by when. And that would ensure that the manager actually knew for sure that their team members knew what was to be done and there would be no assumptions. Now, the issue did arise, of course, in some cases where some members of staff could not paraphrase back fully. And then a different conversation had to be had about whether or not they were capable of actively listening as opposed to passively listening, and whether or not it was their understanding of the English language. So we had to identify the key cause of the miscommunication. Now, in time, the managers implemented the paraphrasing, okay? And this basically, it took some time to implement across the team, but there is now huge improvement in all internal communications, which of course reflect on the paying guest. And it has also resulted in greatly reduced complaints, and that has to be a very positive thing, as I'm sure you're aware. The second critical area within the whole customer service arena that I think would be hugely valuable to you is the impact of the internal customer service on the quality of service being provided to your paying guests. Now, we need to identify who the internal customers are within your organization. We had this level of miscommunication in the Irish hotel as well. And whether it comes from poor listening or from the middle or the back office people not understanding or seeing the big picture from your guests' perspective, it actually was driving up complaints in the Irish hotel. Now, the result of all of this miscommunication was the front of house team were getting inundated with customer complaints about the lack of services in the gym. This is a particular issue we had to deal with. Now, if you go online, of course, everything is presented as being wonderful and fully functional in the gym. But when the customers and the guests actually went into the gym, they realized that at the time, 1/3 of the equipment wasn't actually functional. The issue, of course, from an internal customer perspective was the gym manager didn't think about the impact of not advising the front of our house team, and they had no awareness of what was going on in the gym. So the corrective measure that we took was we set up a very simple situation system whereby the gym manager every morning sent a written update on what equipment was working and what wasn't in the gym. He sent that to the front of house team, and then they prepared a handout that was given to every guest on arrival, advising them on what was and was not available for their use. Now, these are very simple solutions, very, very simple. They were not time consuming, but they were hugely impactful. It always meant that, and the people who need to know everything that's going on in your hotel are your front of house team, because that's the natural go-to point for all of your guests. So we have improved the miscommunication within the hotel here in Ireland. And I've no doubt you have some similar issues in your organization. But, you know, in the hotel sector in particular, as in all service sectors, the customer needs must be met. But the impact of the internal customer service sometimes gets overlooked. We're so focused on the external paying guest. So simple solutions, they do have a significant impact on customer service, and they are very easy generally to implement. Excuse me. So another area then that I would guide you on and would recommend we look at would be the key customer service standards, how to develop them, implement them, and then measure the effectiveness of them. And I can guide you with that. And what I would do for my clients is that I provide a handout of the critical and the key priority customer service standards. I provide the wording to be used, the greetings, the way of addressing your customers, etc. But I also provide a framework which clearly identifies who exactly is responsible for ensuring those standards are applied by all members of staff. So recent research in terms of how to deal with customer complaints, they need to be dealt with consistently and efficiently. And recent research suggests that customer service will now trump artificial intelligence in terms of competitive advantage. And I see a significant return to upskilling teams across this area in multiple sectors. So they would be the key areas that I would recommend to you to address some of the customer service challenges that you're having. You're not alone in having them. We're having them in Ireland, we're having them worldwide, and I'm very much in touch with what's happening in the hotel sector and would be more than happy to support you. I do understand that you're looking at your leadership skill development as well. I would recommend a short program on modern leadership development. Since COVID in particular and the introduction of hybrid working models, I've been working with my clients in terms of upskilling their management team and their leadership team in how to actually lead people when you have some on-site, some are off-site. Everything has changed, and there is huge concern at leadership level in terms of, are they actually the ones who should be leading teams at this stage? Now, something that has come to light in my own research and writing is about the concept of self-leadership and mastering your self-leadership. This is something that I would build into your program because it has been proven that it's really impossible to effectively lead other people if you can't first lead yourself. And that is why I would look at mastering your self-leadership. And then one of the most important skills that a leader should have is the art of communication. And we will cover communication skills, but we will also build in the active and passive listening into that. Additionally, we will look at leading cultural and transformational change. This is an ongoing process now in organizations, particularly post-COVID. And in some sectors, given recent developments, supply chain management issues, etc., there's an awful lot of mergers and acquisitions are being conducted. And so there's a merging of cultures from different smaller organizations into a bigger organization. And so ensuring that your staff work within the culture of your hotel is critical. And so we will, I will train the leaders in how to manage that. And then I understand, and it is happening globally as well, the need to be able to think more strategically and to be innovative in terms of decision making and problem solving. In terms of developing a strategic plan, and I work with a lot of organizations worldwide on developing their strategic plans. And they seem to maybe skip or not spend as much time as is really beneficial for them in the strategic thinking part. But the strategic thinking part is actually the cornerstone of all great strategies. And there are some essentials here that I would guide you through in the training. And then we would look at how to encourage creative thinking and innovation at your leadership level in terms of, spotting an issue or a challenge and coming up with a very viable and practical solution. The more important thing here, of course, is being able to make a decision. And so we would need to look at whether or not they have the authority to make the decision. But creative thinking and innovation will help in overcoming the strategic plan implementation challenges. And I'm sure you're aware, as we all are, the greatest challenge in terms of any strategic plan is having it aligned and getting it fully implemented. So while I've given you an outline of what I would be very happy to train your people on, I know the self-guided programs are short, and they will cover very essential, very practical actions. Now, after the training, the big issue for you and your leadership team will be having them applied consistently throughout your organization and measuring the effectiveness of them. And therefore, I believe those issues of implementation and application would be addressed during the bi-monthly mentoring sessions that are proposed. These would be group mentoring sessions, and to ensure you get the very best return for your team, I would recommend that a specific topic be covered in each session. These sessions would last around 60 to 90 minutes, and basically the agenda would be provided in advance. So you could prepare all of your questions, all of your scenarios in the work situation, and I would then mentor you through them to a successful conclusion. In addition to that, an optional extra for your consideration would be some executive mentoring. That would be a monthly Q&A session. These would be almost at a kind of a higher level, at an overarching level, and these topics would be decided by you. We could cover elements of, these are the similar topics I cover with executive teams in the financial sector, the healthcare sector, the hospitality sector, etc. And so we would look at something like your strategic planning process, maybe developing your company culture, succession planning, and not just at executive level. You've got to look at, do you have the cover at every level, down to and including the front line? And also we would look at employee engagement and whether or not it would be beneficial for your hotel if you set up an in-house mentorship program to drive that engagement. Now, Ireland over the past maybe 10, 15 years has seen huge growth in diverse workforces. And in particular, I also work in the healthcare sector here. And in our Irish healthcare sector, we now have over 52% of international nurses in the sector. And this has caused fantastic relief, but also many, many challenges of integration. So there is a cultural integration issue, excuse me. And so I have recently advised management in the Irish healthcare sector on how to set up and how to run an in-house mentorship program specifically to address the integration of their international nurses into the workforce. So this is being piloted in the healthcare sector at the moment, and already we're seeing some phenomenal results. So it is possibly something that will be of value to you, and I would be delighted to talk you through it if this is something that you feel would help you. So prior to developing the 3 self-guided programs, I would have to have an online meeting with your key people to determine the priority customer service issues that would be addressed in the training. And I would provide also the handout of sample service standards that would guide you. And you could use that as your benchmark, and you can customize it for your own internal use. I hope you have found this valuable. I really would welcome the opportunity to work with you as your transformation partner, and I believe we could achieve a great deal during our collaboration. If you have any questions on anything that I have presented, or if you would like clarification on anything, please do come back to me via Matty, and I'm very happy to elaborate. So I would like to thank you again for the opportunity to present to you, and I do wish you continued success. Thank you.